people give us a hard time about it because they think that somehow we're condoning child rape, basically, which I suppose is kind of an interesting way to look at things, but that's not it at all. I mean, Jordan, Minnesota is a real place, and all the stuff that's talked about in the songs, the sexual violence on kids and stuff, all really happened there. What, if anything, that's sort of what the song is about, is that
about mentioning it?
Well, yeah, it just sort of disappeared from public comment after a couple of days. A couple of days, people were talking about it, and then...
For people who don't know, what exactly happened?
Well, there was a small town in central Minnesota that basically... It's hard to explain, but it's the way it was explained once that made sense was that it's like in these horror movies where you go into a small town and there's like a town secret that everybody's in on, you know?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the way it worked, actually, in Jordan, Minnesota. It was just a significant part of the adult population were having these sex parties and stuff where they would screw each other's kids, and they would play little games with it and stuff like that. And then it finally, after who knows how long, many, many years, obviously, after this whole cycle of activity finally got made public, the town did everything they could to cover it up, and it worked. The cover-up worked pretty well. None of the people that were arrested ultimately went to jail. The first indictment was, the first person that was brought to trial was let off because the kids that were being used as witnesses in the case were just collapsing under cross-examination, and so then the state's attorney, I think it was, decided it just wasn't worth it to try to prosecute any more cases if the kids weren't going to be able to stand up to cross-examination. And so they just dropped all the charges against everybody else because they couldn't bring a case to trial since the only witnesses were these adults who weren't going to admit to anything, and the kids who were fragile mentally. And so basically, after a couple of days of newspaper reports and a couple of 30-second TV blurbs, the story died down. Everything's back to normal in Jordan, Minnesota, basically.